Hello guys, it's Sandy and welcome to this video. Thank you for stopping by, I really appreciate it. Now we are in Sims 4 with a speed build of a horse ranch, or rescue, or even a sanctuary. It is an unusual video on my part, but I got really inspired. After watching Abigail Pinehaven's video about rescuing horses in The Sims 4, I thought to myself, how have I never thought about building a fully functional rescue or sanctuary? So instead of sitting and wondering, I just did it. I always forget to triple check my builds before uploading them for the world to see. It is working as it should, but you know, a little paint is missing there, a tiny fence in one of the shelters, and then a bush that is just out of place. Oh well, with that being said, let's head straight into the building process of this project, shall we? So this build took me around 4 hours to complete. It was very interesting to do. It was a lot of freehand because I don't look at a lot of references and stuff when I'm building. I had like one picture of the building of the stable, but I didn't really use it much. So here, essentially, I'm just placing out a lot of items that I think that I might use. I haven't played The Sims for a very long time when I did this build, so I sort of forgot where things were and what actually existed. So I thought maybe I should just try to put my vision together and make a little test stall box. So I did that. It was a little experimenting and planning. Now there are finished walls in The Sims that you can use. I just didn't want to because I really wanted to do my own thing. And there was these open windows that I really liked, and I looked at a few, but I did settle with the Horse Ranch expansion packs windows because, you know, those little cute nooks that looks like when the horse is just poking out its head and saying hello. So I wanted these bars above the stalls as well. So this is just me trying to figure out what will work for the stall and stuff. Now this box turned out to be a little cursed because one, I had to do them 6 times in the main building, but also the fact that since I'm using sheets, the barn door or the stable doors are not really properly connected, so technically the horses can't walk through and stuff. But yeah, I was just placing out the hay beds, or the horse beds as they are called, and just layering out where things were gonna be. Every time when you're starting a new game file, you always are overwhelmed because it's just a giant empty plot. There is nothing else going on, and I always get overwhelmed when I enter a Sims plot and I know what I want to build, but I just don't know where to start. And my main go-to thing was just start with the building, and I tried to move the box here as well. It didn't work. It didn't want to move. So I was like, well, I just gotta do them one by one then. Which turned out to be okay. It's really repetitive, alright? I do a lot of the same thing over and over again in this video, so it's not really that interesting, but I decided to go with really bright blue window open one. Like, the windows are really blue, and I was like, why did I decide to do that? But it looks good, in my opinion. Like, I have a very strange taste, I think. And I really wanted to make this stable not fully closed off. I wanted it to be sort of open. Like, you have this open space. You can sort of still get in the fresh air in the stable. And it still is really, really subtle. But I really just wanted it to be open. I don't know why I wanted that. I just liked the concept of it all. So I did what I did with the stalls, and I put these bars up as well. You use sort of like a little command and stuff. You just hold the control and use 9 or 0 to move objects up and down, which is really handy. And you resize with different keys. Like, my Swedish keys are different because Americans and Europeans and Swedish and just everyone has different commands or keys to do certain things, like resize stuff, and it is always a pain when I'm staying away from The Sims a long time. I just need to look it up constantly what my keys are, and it's just a pain in the bush. So I just placed these bars all over the build, and I can say this right now, the paint that I've painted on the build currently, it just keeps disappearing over and over again. Whenever I created a room, it just disappeared. And I just saw that I needed to move these down because, well, they were inside the ceiling. So I wanted to do with a classical barn look at the top, and also the Sims are supposed to live on top of the barn. I always like to have a house sort of environment on top of barns, and I really was like, oh, it looked hideous, but then I just bent the roof and it just made such a big difference. I hate building roofs in The Sims. I hate building roofs in Minecraft. I just hate roofs. I think I have a very harsh battle with these guys all the time, and roofing is really weird in The Sims, and for once I was actually pleased with it. So I was trying to figure out how to build to get to the upper area. Now, I wanted the original plan, like, place it against the wall, but it didn't really work well because you would just enter the void. So that's not really good. And as you can see, the paint disappeared like one of many times. But it's fine though. I'm just decided to just work on this little corner piece here, and I didn't really know what I wanted with this build, like the spare areas. Of course, I wanted a wash station, and I wanted a little tech room or a feeding room, but I didn't know what this corner was, and I was like, since I'm just making the sim go up, just make it a real random thing, you know? So it worked out in the end, but you can really do whatever you want. Like, if you just feel like you're like, oh, I don't like that, you can just remove it, because you can download this, by the way, in the gallery. I will mention this later on as well, but you can download this from the gallery, the completed build. Like I mentioned in the intro, there is some errors that I have missed because I am a potato and I just always miss something in my builds every time. So I just decided to add some decorations to the wash area, the horse carrying area, etc. And I'm really bad because I always go back and forth in my build most of the time. I was pretty consistent with this build that I just stayed in one place most of the time, which surprised me a lot, alright? I am not a person that usually stays in one place. I'm just bouncing everywhere, and I knew that would be really bad if I did, so now I just decided to just be good about it. So I did use the walls that you get from Horse Ranch expansion pack for the wash bay and the stuff, but other than that, I didn't really use it otherwise. And the feeding room. The feeding room is so bad. It's really basic, and I just don't understand why I did certain things. Like, why did I add this giant box with a fish on it? Like, I don't get it. And I think it makes sense to add a food bowl in there. I wonder if the cats actually can jump up and eat as well. It would be really convenient. But I wanted some different floorings here and there, and yeah. As you can see, the paints just keep vanishing from the build, and I just like, I love this for me. And just some windows to make him look more appealing. Now, like I mentioned, I did have a reference. It didn't look much like this in the end, but I had a small picture reference because I was like, how does a sanctuary or rescue look like? And it did inspire the build a lot, that photo, but it doesn't look like it at all. And here is what I'm doing. I'm cleaning up the yard and I'm keeping the objects that I know that I want, and I am essentially blueprinting the area. And blueprinting, I think, is so important, especially when you're doing pastures and stuff, because this round pen killed me over and over again, and it's just nice to have a blueprint method. because it really helped me to understand where I wanted things and how it would look. So I just don't do the whole thing. I have to move everything separately. So that was really nice. So I did a few pastures and stuff. Now, originally, as you can see here, I wanted it to be like small sections for the horses, like a little turnout section. 6 pastures, or there's 6 like little squares for the horses. But I ended up changing that in the future. You will see eventually, but yeah, I just changed that and I just don't like it. And I was like, I'm just gonna have a lot of hay laying here, and like, no, I'm gonna build a shelter in each and single one of these squares. And I free-handed like this whole thing, like basically I free-handed the barn as well. But this shelter, like this outdoor shelter, I'm so proud of, because I really thought about the whole thing, and I just love it. Like, I love building in The Sims. I think 90% of my playing time is just building. I don't really like playing the game itself. I just like building and stuff. But I really am happy with how the shelter for the pastures look. And I think it was around here that I thought, like, wait, this is weird. If I'm gonna have a shelter in every single one of these little square turnout spots, that would be really weird and cramped. Of course, it is doable, and I could easily see myself doing that. And then I thought, should I just place one of these shelters in each corner of that? I'm gonna just have 2 with no shelter. And I thought also that was like, nah, that's a little silly. You can separate them if you want to. So there's like options if you want to do your own twisty things. But I just realized that, okay, it's better to just have 2 full open smaller areas here. So the horses can still run around here and stuff, which is really great. And you don't really pay attention, but the horses are actually bigger than you think they are. And when they are in there, it looks so small. I was like, realistically, it would be weird if it was smaller for one horse. I mean, it's fine if they are like having a diet of some sort that they can eat grass, etc. If you really want it to be heavily realistic focus, you could even use the circle pens for this reason. Like, if you want them to just be in there, you can just put some food and stuff in there for them to have. Like, there is so many options here, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking here. I was really thinking that they should walk through the little tiny gap to get to the pastures. I was like, that's stupid. The Sims are just gonna be really mad at me. It is functional, I think, to do it like this, but I ended up changing it in the future because it just was really stupid. And I did some decorating. I added some other horse items and stuff, so that was really nice as well. And don't worry, I'll remove that railing in the future. Don't worry, it's terrible. So I have officially done the most of the blueprinting. There was gonna be another pasture as well, but I just added a mailbox and some of the items that I found that would look good, like clutter and stuff, and a lot of lanterns, because I realized I have no lights at all, and this is something that I always forget to implement in builds. It's lights until I realize it's nighttime. I'm like, wait, it's night. I need to see what I'm doing. So it's always an interesting thing that you don't think about certain things until it's essentially in your face. So yeah. Now, I wanted to do like a cross hook thing in the washing station, but yeah, it just didn't work well. And I wanted to do another round pen here at the top. Looking back now, I probably wouldn't do 2 here. I probably would make the other one just a little bit bigger, or I would actually connect the 2 together. I would actually make it a big training space, not a round pen. I really regret that. I don't know why I did it like that, because I thought that it would be a big enough space for certain things to be implemented. Like, it still functions, like with jumps and everything. It just looks a little weird. And here I wanted to do a little garden area. Just a little nice flowers and stuff at the front entrance. I think it looks really appealing. I already visioned this from the beginning that I wanted a little flower patch in front, but I changed my vision here a little bit and decided to, for some reason, add water and just dig down. And I wanted to add fireflies and stuff, and was like, I'm just gonna dig down and then place some water. And I don't remember fully how to do this, so I'm just gonna work through it. And eventually, I figured out how to do it. So that was great. And I did add a little fountain, and I did add the fireflies because I really like the fireflies at night. Mwah, it looks so great, like for real. And I did find some items here and there when I was building certain things. I'm like, oh, this could look good in here or over there. So that always happens with me. That's why I get sidetracked so much. And the last blueprinting of the last pasture. And then I decided to just place the bush fences all around the place. And somewhere along the way, one of these bushes, like you saw probably in the intro, that was just, for some reason, misplaced or sticking out. And when I look here, it's just, it isn't. It's fine. I probably moved it by accident at some point, but I just don't remember when or why. So, yeah. Also, always remember to save people. Saving is so important. I save way too often, but it's just, I want to be on the safe side. Now, painting is fun. I'm an artist, if you didn't know, and I actually like painting in The Sims, like the paths and stuff, because it's so satisfying for me to like get like straight circles and everything. I actually did a perfect circle with a mouse in the round pad later, so that's exciting. But yeah, it's really fun to do the painting, but it's also really annoying in a way, but it works fine. And here I just built a little garden area to sit down and have a snack or something. Just, I didn't know what to do with these small areas most of the time. Like, there's so many empty spaces that you cannot really do anything horsey with, you know? And I just did some terrain painting in the pastures as well and underneath the building to make it look more realistic. And yeah, it's just, it's a tiny little detail, but I think it really does a lot for the whole thing. And I did make it slightly bigger this pasture as well, just a little bit. And the two pastures in the front are pretty much the same size. They are just, one is just a little wider than the other, but finally the real fencing is up, so it is time to really finish off the pastures for real, after I go back and forth as I used to do and place some plants with the garden area. Oh my goodness. I swear, I'm really all over the place. And I added these little trees in front of the gates. I don't know why. And then the process of making all the shelters. Like, there's 2 shelters more that I need to make, and this is one of them. And I really got the hang of it. Like, I really made them quick because I really know how they are made now. And this one, the last one, I forgot a little fence at the back, and I'm so offended. But at the same time, I realized it wasn't really needed, that back face, because you can't really go out from the back. But I just added the little details like the prairie grass and the little bushes and the trees, etc., and little pathways. It looks like it's been walked around in. And little grass textures. I think it's really important to do that sort of thing because it looks so real, like it's been used and it's really running. And I decided to make the training brown pens just dirt of some sort, or really dried grass, because it really makes sense. And I did make a perfect circle, like I mentioned, so I'm really happy with that one. Now, these jumps were technically a little too long for the brown pens, but they're still functioning. I did test them out, but the horses kind of go outside of the round pen, but they do come back in without any problems. You do just a little clipping, but it's fine. And the barrels were perfectly placed, so that's nice. I did do some finalizing with the train paint, and then I decided that I wanted to have some sort of parking lot for cars, because it makes sense that cars would park at a sanctuary or a rescue in general to just work and stuff. So I just try to blend in the environment, and I did access debug because there are no cars in The Sims 4. There are in Sims 3, but there are no actual functional cars in Sims 4. So I had to go into debug mode and get that, but it's fine. And I did place one by the trailer because to hook it up, it was just really aesthetic, and some hay bells on the pickup here at the front, which made it look really nice, like it's been getting deliveries and stuff. Now, I did add a lot of decor from the debug, and the front gate, etc., and the trees as well is debug for the pastures. Like, most of them are. Like, I didn't use that much debug for the decorating on the outside, but a lot, actually, were really, like, important details to make it look really static. So, that's really nice. Now, I did try to make the attack room. It was sort of like a chill area that you can sit on a bench and clean your tech and stuff. Now, it's really difficult. It's a really small space, and it's really limited what items that this Sims has in general in the 4th version, because Sims 3 had a little bit more. And I added some lights on the outside and a little bit of junk here and there to make it look more overgrown or alive, really. And I did add this little debug building. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in the future, maybe, but I just thought it was a little fun thing to make it like some sort of cafe, you know, like the people can visit to support the sanctuary and give them money to help keep the horses, etc. So if this is a sanctuary or a horse rescue, I don't even know anymore. Like, either of them works. Like, a sanctuary works a little different than a horse rescue. It's still a nice little thought. Now, I don't know if you can actually do that in The Sims. Like, you have a little business with a cafe or something, or a restaurant. I think a restaurant works, but if you can do that, that is just a little fun thing that you can run on the side, like one of the Sims has that you probably, quote-unquote, hired to do that for you. So, that's really nice. And the fact that you can actually hire ranch hands and stuff to help with the horses is also really great. So that's pretty realistic. Now, I did add some fencing and stuff around this thing. It was really difficult. The debugs really didn't want to work with me. And I finally remembered to finish the upper part. I have avoided this part for so long. I hate building living spaces and stuff. It's just so dreading and boring and unfulfilling. I don't know why I dislike it so much. Maybe because I'm bad at it. I think it's mainly because I'm really bad at it. And I really like what I did with this build. I did just place random items from the beginning to just know what I wanted things to be and stuff. But eventually the vision really does come together. The layout for this is not the best that I've ever done. It doesn't make sense. You come from the hallway and you enter to a kitchen. Like, how many houses has that sort of thing? I mean, I guess technically my house has that. Never mind, ignore that. It's just interesting when you floor planning stuff. You just think that, okay, this space could be used for this and stuff. Because I knew that the bigger space that I work on currently here, I wanted it to be a sort of dining area or / living room. So I think it would make sense that this big room would have this purpose. So some things just make sense. And I decided to challenge myself to go with a color palette of some sort, like some light blue and brown. Like, I really like blue in The Sims. I don't know why. I really tried to make the kitchen a little bolder than it is, but I chickened out, okay, guys? I chickened out so badly because it was so out of my comfort zone. I think earth colors are the safest way to go if you are unexperienced with color theory and stuff. So I did go and change the color here to a very, very dairy color, and I just said, nope, nah. Ain't happening, son. I am not doing this. I changed it back rather quickly, and it's just nah. I will get back to you. I just said to myself, and just like, nah, it was terrible, really. But I did try. To challenge myself, and then I just realized, honey, that's not for me. So I just changed everything back to a natural, decent, good color, and then I just moved on from the kitchen and never looked back. Now the living space is simple. Like, let's be real, the whole thing is simple. My main focus was the horses. The Sims, they get to live, like they just have to live, take care of the horses, you know. So I really tried to make it look decent, and I did find some items that was for the horse stuff as well. So and I found this not horse leash, but a dog leash. So I thought, like, hey, this could work as a sort of a lead rope. So I just did that. Ignore that though. The funniest part was adding the hanging lights to the build though. Like, I love lights, guys. Like, lights are just fantastic, and I really think this is one of my best builds yet. I have built a lot in The Sims. I don't sadly upload everything to my gallery. I forgot to do that in the past. I didn't remember you could do that. So some of the builds that I built just are nowhere to be found anymore, and I don't remember what I did, which is sad. So I just decided to make this archway into the kitchen, and then there's a lot of archways actually. So there's archway into the kitchen, to the living space, and I think to the office as well. So, no, actually the office has a regular door. Interesting. So, there's a lot of office space with a bonsai tree, just to have some place for the Sims to work. They mostly go there to play games, like, always. Doesn't matter. They always go play games. And I added these little paw mats in the bathroom. I thought that was such a cute touch. I don't know why I like that so much. And I did add a little knitting basket from cottage living in the living room, in case you want to knit some things and stuff as a little side hobby. Now, I did decorate it very lightly. Like I mentioned, I'm not really good at this sort of thing. I actually think it is the best I've done, like I mentioned, but I don't like it. There's so much things that you can do so much better. Now, I use base game stuff and some expansion packs. I don't use CC content, like custom created stuff. I just don't like that sort of thing. I love it, don't take me wrong. I just don't understand how to use it properly. So the people who actually know how to do with that stuff and implement it in the game and use it properly, just really nice. But I just added some paintings and some mats here and there, and then I decided, should I leave this space for people to build on their own, or should I just do something with it? So I did separate parts, and I did a little nook, and I did like a narrow hallway section, and then I left some space in case in the future people, or if I play on the save file myself in the future, that maybe I just I want to add another sim to the household to help work on things and like hire them for jobs and stuff. Then they can live there in that room, like a guest room or like just their own room, which makes sense. And here I am again, adding lights at the very end, like always. I always struggle with lights. I don't know why, it's such a pain. The hanging lights was no problem, but just regular lights is always a problem. So, the little hallway area was really simple. And just wanted to do something like, hey, this is a hallway. Like, hello, this is just a little space to have things and stuff. It just makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think what I have in my hallway and just have a little mirror and stuff. Yeah, there was a little, I think there was one wall here at the tiny wall behind the door that I forgot to paint, which is just so funny. But yeah, I did go outside again and added some more details and change the trees and stuff, because I don't know, I just keep finding things in debug that is just so interesting to me, and then when I see something interesting, I just go and change it right away. And I did have a little look, and I did add these sort of debug plants around the whole build, and I really liked it. It looked overgrown, but still fresh, you know? So I like that sort of thing. I really, really enjoyed this build. Like, I really enjoyed the process, and I added some things because I thought it looked good, and debug stuff is free. They don't cost anything, so it reduces the value of the house as well, or should I say the plot, which is great. And I did find some horsey stuff that I could put here and there as well, which was really, really great for me. And like these racks and stuff. Like it was really, really good stuff in debug that I found was really useful. So I really, really thought it was a good thing that I did look up how to go into debug. And I did check out the place at night, and I thought, that's so dark. Like the places with the horses and everything, it was so dark, so I just hang these hanging lights above every shelter on the outsides, and a little light around the round pens as well. I really wish I had done this what I initially thought about doing. Like I really wanted to have lights all over the place. And then when I went back to nighttime, I realized that it looked stupid, which it probably didn't, because I wanted to have these hanging lights technically all around the thing. But since I maybe wanted to change this in the future if I played again, like combine these two things, like it would look really stupid if I did that. So I just said, Sandy, don't. Just do it simple. And welcome to the end of the speed build. If you did watch the whole thing, I really appreciate it. It took me around 4 hours to complete this, so I just want to go through the build a little more in depth than I did in the commentary. And yes, this is me in The Sims. Man, I wish I had a jacket. Without further ado, let's just do this. So I have my character standing over here. I just made her, actually. If you saw the build, this is how it looks like. The whole property. It's a 64 by 64 plot. And it's the one in the horse ranch all the way in the bottom right. There you found it. This one has like this side things, like a side big pasture and the whole training section here. That is usable, but I hate The Sims because it is limited with the plot. You can't have two plots like right next to each other and combine them and stuff. I really wish that was a thing. That would be so cool. But this is about my build, which is probably one of the best things I've ever done. Like, I actually am sincere when I say that. I am not good at building a Sims, but I love building in The Sims. So, we have this little shelter. Now, if you download my build from the gallery, you just search horse rescue, or maybe even my name, I'm not sure. If you search Shandog for you might find it as well. But it's right here. The fact that people actually have downloaded this is terrifying me. People are so quick to download sometimes if they like it. I'm surprised people actually do like it. But this piece right here, this part of the fence, was not here. I forgot to implement it. Oopsies. And I think this wall forgot some paint. But it's not important. Like, there's just small errors and it's easily fixed. But yeah, I just want to point it out, but without further ado, let's just get into this little quick review of the build. So I have two pastures, like big, large pastures. They are around the same size, and they both have one shelter in it each, and a little ball and some trees and stuff. I use a lot of debug stuff, and if you don't know what debug is things that is in the game that usually is not in the gameplay menu when you're building normally. You use cheats to achieve those, and they don't cost anything. The sim can just walk through them. Like this gate right here, my sim just walked through it because it's a debug item. So the cars are debug. There are no cars in The Sims 4. In The Sims 3 it exists. I still found it very weird that there are no cars in this game. So I have a little trailer back here with a pickup that is attached, quote unquote. It's not attached, but you guys know what my thought process with this was. And next to that, in this pasture, we have two training arenas, one with jumps and one with barrels. Now the barrel is placed correctly. Like, this has not been oddly moved. Like, if you train this, your horse won't go out of fence. But if you use these two, they still work, might I add. They work just as they should. Like, if you practice on these, you might walk through this fence, but it will come back inside. So it's not a big deal, but I'm just saying it's gonna clip really visibly. And if you want to, hey, why not remove this whole section and just join these two together and have another pasture? Like, that works too, because there is a training area over here. So there is no loss really. But yeah, I just wanted something to try on the property in case you don't want to go all the way over here and you want to manage everything in one space. And we have these 2 pastures, like small pastures over here. They are perfect size, so the horses can actually run in this pretty good. Now, if you saw the speed build, you know I tried to make like small patches, like 6 of them, I think. And I was like, if we're gonna put one of these little shelter houses in each and every single one of them, that's gonna be a pain in the bush. And yes, I did this freehand. Like, I build freehand. I usually don't look at references. I looked at a reference for this place only for 10 seconds. I literally look at the picture 10 seconds. I'm like, you know what? I don't need this picture anymore. I know what I want. So in the end, I actually ended up building this whole thing without even thinking, which is unusual for me. So I'm really proud of that. The 2 pastures, they're okay. Like, I like them. Like, every single pasture has a shelter, which is good. And I used a lot of debug stuff, like I mentioned, with the cars and everything, but this whole section is basically just debug stuff. This little building is debug as well, and I thought it's a little fun thing, like, oh, maybe it's like a cafe or something that the shelter has to raise some money for the horses and stuff. I just thought it was a fun little thing, you know. It's not that it actually is functional or anything, it's just the thought of it, you know. It's the thought of it is cute and I like it. And I even had this little sign here with a little menu and stuff, which is really cute. Like, maybe you could do something here with this, like, maybe if you just build your own space, like, you remove this debug stuff and you just build a little nook and make some sort of cafe. I'm not quite sure if that's possible. Could be, but just a little theory. I didn't know what to do with most of the things. Like, when you make pastures, they need to be a certain size, and when you've done a pasture, you sort of have a lot of space over. That happened to me. Like, I just added a bunch of stuff here with debug and the cars. Like, they really helped fill up the space because I thought it was realistic to have a little spot for cars. Like, people come here to help out at the shelter. There's 4 cars in total, I think it makes sense, and one has hail bales and stuff on it. Now, in the section here in the middle, I wanted to do a fountain of some sort or a little garden patch. My first thought was to make just flowers, nothing else. But then I got a little out of hand and I decided to do a little water thing as well. And really like it, honestly. It really brought things together. And I am actually not certain, but it seems like it's not exactly central with a map, but it's really central with a map, I just realized. That's pretty cool. There's a little bike here. The mailbox is here. Really badly placed, I just realized, because the bike is probably in the way. There's also a little board that you can, you know, just get yourself a horse from here. You can hire a ranch hand and stuff. You do that from the phone. But you know, you can do everything from this community board, which is really nice. You don't even need to leave the plot, which is perfect, and I love that sort of stuff. If we enter build mode and we turn everything to night, I thought this was like a little charming thing to do. Like, there's lights everywhere. I wanted to do this all around here. I might in the future, but it might be also overkill, so I might not do that. I think I overdid some things here, like these could be removed and just have spotlights underneath the bushes and stuff. Just because this was my vision of things doesn't mean it has to be your vision. Turning back to daytime, we're gonna have a quick look inside the build. As you enter here, first thing to the left, you have a little washing station or a caretaking station. I wanted to get this sort of poles, you know, when you... I was trying to imagine that these guys are like the hooks that you have clipped to the horse's halter and stuff. I didn't really find anything good when it came to that sort of sense. And these are dog leads, but I thought this down here looked like a lead rope of some sort, you know, this is the different one. So I just went for that one. And of course we have the stalls and everything. And if you go to the right, there is a little feeding room. Now, not much in here, but there is some things like sacks and a little table with a food bowl for some weird reason. And some food bins and a little chest, and not much else really. We have this, and I'm like, why did I add this debug thing? Like, it makes no sense. There's like a fish on it. Like, hello? You can do whatever you want with these essentially. Like, you don't even have to have them. If you want more than 6 stalls, like I have, you can have 8, for example. Like, you can just remove any of these nooks because all of these are exactly the same size, which is really good. We have the stalls. Now, I wanted this sort of open window thing going on. you know, that you have, you can just close and open and stuff. It's really fun. And I don't know why I went with this blue color. Don't question it, because we all have our own taste, but for some reason I really like this blue here. But we have the little boxes here. Yeah, they have water, they have hay, and they have a little bedding and stuff. They can see their friends, for example, if they have a neighbor or something, so they're not alone. That's horse poop that I missed from older days. Curse you. You also get horse maneuver if you download this build. Now I noticed that I did put in some horses. One of the horses kind of did walk out somehow and walk back in. I think it's because I used move objects. Now, when you go in the back here, this is the sort of place I'm like, what do I do with this? I just made a little sitting area, and there's like a debug well and stuff. And yeah, you can essentially just walk anywhere on the property, like all the way in the back here. There's paths all around the thing. Where the heck does the sim live? Well, of course, they live upstairs. Right next to this nook of things, like a lot of random stuff, like cleaning items, and you have this hay bale and stuff, and a pitchfork. You have a little blue ladder. You can tell I went with a blue theme for this, right? And the moment you go up, you are entered in this hallway right here. I left some places up here empty, so I think if you go straight here, it's pretty much empty. I don't really know what to do with it, and I just left it. And I think, ow, I hit my head. And if you walk here, and right past this wall is also a room that's empty. So this room is empty. This is also where the wallpaper was gone, and here. So you can do essentially if you want. For example, if you want a kid or if you want someone to move in to help out with the chores, well, then you have a space for that person if you want to. So when you enter here, you enter sort of hallway sort of thing. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do here, but I thought, okay, I should have some sort of hallway because it was really weird. Is the first thing you did was to enter the kitchen. How many houses do you enter from a hallway to a kitchen? Not many, I would imagine. Like, my floor planning was really bad for this, but the spaces and stuff makes sense, like where things were supposed to be. So there's a lot of things here with stuff. There's a lot of clutter, and the kitchen looks alright. It's really basic, and I wanted to push my limit with this kitchen, but I just I chickened out and decided not to. And the living room is actually one place I really like. I really like this space, like the little fairy lights, and we have the little decorations and stuff. These shelves were a pain in the bush because you couldn't place certain things on it, and it just made me really annoyed. And we have a dining table right behind here as well. And I really like it. I actually really like this build. I'm really proud of myself. And in here, my sim was in here earlier, gaming as always. They always tend to like to go to the computer and play games. But yeah, it's really simple, nothing fancy in here. I just wanted to place some items in here to get the feeling what this room was supposed to be. And as you go past the living space and enter here, you go into the bathroom. And I really like this bathroom. For some weird reason, it's the prettiest bathroom I've made, even though it's so simple and basic. I just like the wall and the floor. Like, it's just great. And the little paw mats and everything is just so cute. As you go out here, you enter the bedroom. Now, this bedroom is simple as well, but I actually really liked it for some weird reason. Normally, I would place the bed in the middle, but if you move things around and stuff, it's up to you. But I just like the fact that it was centered underneath that window in particular. I don't know why. It's just a weird thing with me. Sometimes simple is enough. Like, I could easily probably have done more with this build, but that imagination can do the rest. So yeah, that is the whole build, essentially. If you guys do like this build, feel free to download it. And if you guys would like me to do like a little series of horse rescuing thing, and I would like to do like a horse sanctuary and stuff, I really like the thought of that. Yeah, I'm really happy with this build. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, if you want to see a little let's play of it, let's do it. Let's do it. And like I mentioned, if you want to download this build, it's in the gallery for you to download for yourself. Just a little reminder, there might be some small misses, but it's not that big that it will ruin your gaming experience. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye, all. Well, that's 4 hours of my life, and I'm dead. What is happiness again? So I'm just gonna go Bye! Schnitzels.